I don't think you all understand who I am. I mean, I've always been a straight-A student.
Have you been drinking?
I had a drink.
I am an outstanding mother to my son.
It's her day to pick up the kid, but
Okay.
it doesn't always happen. 1 or 2 days a week, maybe she gets him.
Go back inside. Jesus.
Do you need Jesus right now?
I excel at everything.
She hasn't worked for over 2 years. I mean, she was always calling to borrow money, and it's been like 2 years since she got a job.
Babe, I had no idea.
Jesus Christ.
So Mallory, thank you for sending this over. She sent it to me in an email, and I think this was from Friday. So look at her flipping through pages, right? We know she's been shuffling pages. She can't sit still. She's got to pretend like she's part of everything. And I guess technically she is a little bit, but I can guarantee you she's not as important in this process as she believes she is. I think it's like giving a child crayons in a coloring book. This is Owen. Margaret, I need you to make her copies. Just anything. Just give her copies of some of these files. Do a paint by number. I don't care. I need some colored pencils. I need some Crayolas. We got to keep her busy and out of my hair while I'm trying to put on a defense for this woman. Whew, Lord have mercy. So anyway, if you look at this picture really closely, she's holding a piece of paper that says power and control. Okay, so they've already been talking about this on Reddit. Oh, I wish I had more time to hang out in Reddit. I don't, though. I'll never get anything out to you guys if I did. Okay, so apparently this is part of something called a power and control wheel. And this has to do with domestic violence. First, let me start by saying I do not want to disrespect anybody who feels like they are in a position to where they're being abused, either verbally or physically, or they're being controlled financially. I mean, I think that's a thing too, right? This is the website for National Domestic Violence Hotline. So we're not making fun of anybody that's going through that. What we're making fun of is Sarah Boone trying to use and abuse this resource to fit the narrative so that she doesn't end up in jail for what she did to this man. Because she, in my opinion, is not the abused in this case. She is the abuser. Clearly, by looking at this photo, you'll be able to see that she's obviously having to study what makes an abused person because she doesn't really know what an abused person is. So this is the website for the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And here, if you ever on this website and you want to get out of it, you just click the exit button and it takes you back to Google. So I thought that was interesting. It was good to know. Let's look at this thing that Sarah's studying. How to be a victim. This is unbelievable, you guys. You know what would be amazing if in reading and studying all this, Sarah realizes, oh, I'm not the victim. Nah. Then it wouldn't be about her. It'd be about somebody else. And she can't let that happen. All right, so let's look at this. You got physical violence, sexual. Go around the wheel. Okay, so these are the things where it says using coercion and threats, making and or carrying out threats to do something to hurt, threaten to leave her, to commit self-harm, to report her to welfare, making her drop charges, making her do illegal things. You know why this is so interesting, you guys? That whole drop charges part? Well, let me tell you. Apparently, there is a video on Sarah's cell phone where she recorded where she is coaching George on how to get the charges of her domestic assault in 2018 dropped. So this is the beauty in this trial, you guys. It's going to get better this week. I just know it is. There's going to be some things come to light, and we're going to be like, hallelujah, praise Jesus. Thank you. Take me there. Whew. Okay, so then you have, I want to look at each of these things. Threaten to leave. A lot of people think that George was threatening to leave. That's the scariest time in a abusive relationship, is when you're trying to leave. Using intimidation. Now they're going to bring this up. Making her afraid by making her or him, thank you. Making a person afraid by using looks, actions, gestures, smashing things, destroying property, abusing pets, displaying weapons. See, this is so interesting because up until yesterday, we heard absolutely nothing about George abusing the pets, their dogs, Sarah's dogs. And now all of a sudden, he mistreats the pets. So, gee, I wonder where that came from, guys. Think Sarah's been doing a little bit of studying. And then they're talking about this bat video where he's swinging it around. I want to see it. Can't wait to see it. You know, speaking of that, 4 items that I've heard so far that I could think of off the top of my head right now that we have not seen yet and we're wanting to see. You've got the video of him swinging this bat that was just brought up by Owens in the opening. You've got text messages between Sarah and Mo, George's brother, that the prosecution does mention in his opening. And then you have the public's CCTV surveillance. We've known that was there, but we haven't been able to see it. We don't know why it becomes so important. There's going to be, I feel like there's a reason why the prosecution is holding that onto that. What's the point? There were 2 empty bottles of wine in the trash. So what was the point? What's the point of having that CCTV? I don't know. We'll see. And then there's the video of Sarah Boone coaching Jorge Torrez in how to drop the charges against her from the 2018 event that they were both arrested in. Those are going to be key, and there's a reason why we haven't seen all that stuff yet, you guys. I think that they're going to be big deals. Of course, the big deal is the other video, but now see, this is right here is the area that they're going to stay away from when it comes to Sarah Boone, in my opinion, from on the defense side. Using emotional abuse, putting the person down, making them feel bad about themselves, calling them names, making them think they're crazy, playing mind games, humiliating them by making them feel guilty. I have to keep changing the word here because they put her and they forget that it's not just a female that can be abused. It's a male too. So anyway, that's all Sarah every day and twice on Thursday. You know what I mean? Like that's all Sarah. Probably the defense is going to avoid that little pie in the little wheel cog there. And hopefully the prosecution will zero in on it, which I think they are going to. Using economic abuse. Well, let's face it, George didn't have any money. Preventing that person from getting or keeping a job. Yeah, how do you do that? Oh, you have them arrested 20 times over. Making that person ask for money. Oh, you want to use my phone? Well, I'm not going to give you the code to it. You need to let me know every time you want it to be opened. Oh, you want to use my debit card? Okay. But eventually one day I'm going to call the cops and tell everybody that you stole it from me because I'm mad at you. Giving that person allowance, taking their money away, not letting them know about or have access to family income. Yeah, that's all Sarah. So another little cog in the wheel they're going to want to stay away from. Okay, now this one says using male privilege, which treating her like a servant, making all the big decisions, acting like the master of the castle, being the one to define a man and woman's roles. Okay. I can see the defense using this one, and there's no way to prove it, really, I don't think, other than hearsay. Well, there might be some witnesses, I don't know. Using isolation, controlling what that person does, who they see, who they talk to, what they read, where they go, limiting their outside involvement, jealousy to justify actions. Okay, I think that could work both ways with Sarah and George, but I think that Sarah has a lot of things going on there. You know, I mean, like at one point she mentions she knows George's schedule And I've told y'all this before. I guarantee you that when he got his schedule, he was to report back to Sarah with that schedule, and she was to have a copy of it. And it was probably somewhere up in the kitchen, probably on the refrigerator. Seriously. I mean, when he would get on the phone with his family, regardless of whether it was his siblings or with his children, some way or another, she was always in the background screaming and yelling. Why? Because the attention was taken away from her and given to other important people in his life. And she didn't like that. And she says all the time, I tried to make him spend time with his family. I tried to get him to, even though I was always trying to get him to spend time with his family, he never talks to him that much. Bullshit. She was the reason some of it was his drinking. Some of it was him being an alcoholic. But most of it was because of her. None of his family liked her. They didn't like the way that George was when he was around her. She caused problems. Like we've got that whole incident that happened where she caused the problem between George and Mo. And again, I'm not going to blame it 100% on her. They did not like his alcoholism. But anybody that's been following this case can realize that his family was a very loving family. I saw some images, and I'll have to pull them up here soon, where George took his kids at some point on a weekend, took his kids and went with Juan and his family, and they went to some of the theme parks in Orlando. And they were some really nice photos. And I think I've got them fixed up where I can put them up for you guys because I wanted to blur the kids out on them. So we'll look at those one day. But I kind of wondered, I was trying to look back on when those videos happened, and I want to say they happened during the time period of after she had him arrested when he was trying to get away from her. You guys, his Instagram maybe we need to dive into it one day because it tells that story. It tells the story of how he was before he met her and how he was after he met her. I thought maybe I was the only one that noticed it until Cookie got up and said something about it. Using children, making them feel guilty about the children. Well, she's used that on him for sure with Lucas, and also, how she said that his ex-wife makes him feel guilty about the kids and stuff? I bet you money that she said that George tried to make her feel bad about being a shitty mom. He probably did. He probably threw it back on her face after she said something to him. I know I sound biased. I can't help it, y'all. Oh, making light of the abuse and not taking that person's concerns seriously. Saying the abuse didn't happen. Ding dong. Shifting responsibility for abusive behavior. Saying the other person caused it. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Hello. So that's the control wheel. And this is the wheel that Sarah is currently studying while she's sitting there at the table, or maybe in her spare time, free time in her cell. I wonder what she's going to do this weekend in her cell now that she has all these things at her fingertips. She's going to go back and tell all of her friends that, you know what? My lawyer is going to get me off. Let me tell you what he did. And all the girls in the jail that can't stand her are going to roll their eyes and go, yeah, good for you. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, Sarah. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and feel free to leave a comment. Have a blessed day.